Radiant team ban. DC's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. DC's turn to pick.
Spirit.
Radiant team pick.
Doom.
Dark Seer.
DC's turn to pick.
Dazzle.
Radiant team ban. DC's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team ban. DC's turn to ban. Radiant team pick.
Invoker.
DC's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Pudge.
Radiant team pick. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Spirit Breaker.
DC's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Lone Druid.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. DC's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. DC's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Needs assassin.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Ursa Warrior.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Prepare for battle.
Thanks be to you.
Thirty seconds to battle. The battle begins.
Well,
Never refuse gold given.
gold and sweet.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Can't run from your thoughts.
Game mic. My bad, guys. There we go. Now the in-game should be working for me. Apologize for not having it on there initially. Yeah, now it's just all of a sudden BSJ. You do see the roam from Dewey here on Spearbreaker as he heads towards the middle lane. but not going to really be able to make too much there, although Tomato's going to be able to steal that rune. Double damage in front of Wee as he throws him up in the air with a tornado. So well played there, and actually good rune control coming out for that 2-minute rune. The middle. See, bottom lane, are they going to go now?
This game's mostly just going to come down, I think, to like, do Freedom supports get enough done as opposed to DCs? Because right now what they're doing is they're setting up kills bottom, putting a lot of into this Ursa hero, and they're getting way more done. Doom's not really a hero that accomplishes much this but you know, at least Spirit Breaker's getting counter kills in the mid lane, which is much more important than giving away a Doom kill.
Yeah, not too bad there as far as the return at least. You know, of course, getting the Ember Spirit, as you mentioned, pretty kind of a more significant kill despite that first blood coming out. So, but yeah, Doom getting a little too comfortable there at the bottom lane. We did see this yesterday as well, or not yesterday, but the couple of days ago that I was casting again. He's played a couple games with it. He likes to get this purge creep earlier on and try to make plays with it, but clearly, again, just getting a little too comfortable there. He's going to pick up an Alpha Wolf now for the time being, and perhaps going to try to farm with it instead. But how's this middle matchup going here? We got 14-4 Invoker, 13-4 Ember Spirit, but again, the death on the Ember. Well, by the way, charge to the bottom lane. Out comes a spiked carapace from Moomianer. Big impale on 2 heroes, but Spirit Breaker doing some nice hero blocking. Not enough, however, and Moon will escape. That was not an easy escape by him, but did a good job of juking and jiving right there. And managed to stay alive. Meanwhile, back to the middle lane, they take out Tomato. So now all of a sudden, Wee's going to start getting favored once again, it seems like. But great roam to the middle lane from DC there, man.
Yeah, they just seem to be getting the better of all these trades. Like, Nyx is not an easy hero for free melee hero, sorry. Because you're getting at least double stunned body, which they couldn't quite do. And mid lane, Invoker used his tornado, like, missed on the by the time the second chains came out, the supports were there.
Yeah.
And this is not a lane Invoker isn't minding in because you can always dispel the shield and it's fairly hard to kill him. So getting kills is like just leads to DC playing a lot better, I think. The net worth's all in their favor by a good margin at the moment, like on every counter, but minus Venom and Pudge.
5 minutes in right now. Speaking of that net worth, Lone Druid about 2,600 lead. Or 2,600 is in the lead right here. So yeah, Resolution, he is definitely feeling the free farm at the top lane. Obviously, IX Mike on Darkseer, understandable, hasn't been really been able to prevent a whole lot of that, but it's level 6 and actually managing some okay status himself. You know, that's really what you'd expect or hope out of your Darkseer, that he stays alive, gets the levels, and perhaps is able to make use elsewhere. But for the time being, yeah, Lone Druid having a good time. But yeah, there's some fun synergy, by the way, with the Darkseer and the Spirit Breaker. I want to, you put the Ion Shell on him and he, you know, charging in. He's that much more scary when he charges in. But so far, it doesn't seem like they've been able to make the most use of that. As bottom lane, okay, they're going to be charging in here. BSJ, going to turn this around. Furious wipes out, and Moomy had a nice impulsion initially, but not going to be enough. The hook just missing onto the Ursa right there. Misery was hoping for a turn kill, but not to be. So Moomiander maybe getting a little too aggressive right there at the bottom lane. And so, yeah. But this Lone Druid having free farm though.
Yeah, that death's not too big a deal for them. And with you talking about the Spirit Breaker interaction, the reason they couldn't use that is Vidazzle went bottom and they put the pressure early and they needed to secure the Ursa instead. If the Spirit Breaker and Doom didn't come down here, he'd be having an even worse time than he is at the moment. So the DC did a really smart thing and they countered that interaction, being able to put pressure early by putting their own pressure first.
Yeah.
That's why it worked out. So now you won't really see it matter too much until they start moving the Darkseer around, which will probably be time soon, because the laning stage breaks down a lot earlier these days. They don't really have push though, they're mostly looking for kills.
Well, they're trying to maybe make a play at the top lane. Again, you do see Doom up here, setting up. He's actually going to smoke up, so only has a shockwave here. And no purge or anything like that, so will be some more nuke damage coming out, but slow to maybe chase down the lone druid. However, you see for the time being, Resolution, he's currently farming the pull jungle. He's going to be more than fine here. Currently, at least, is going to go in the ultimate form as well. It's almost as if he's suspicious that something's up. He does have the ward, spotting Spirit Breaker charging in, and in comes a TP. So this gank attempt definitely going to be coming up short. Again, you see Eagle making his way around, but not going to be nearly enough. Bottom lane back down here, BSJ. He's going for the kill on Jasmine. Misery walks in, now blocking him a bit with that rot activated. And the TP coming in, not going to be in time, but Meander did end up getting picked up at the top lane, actually. He was there to help the lone druid, and he ends up going down bottom lane. Soxon now trying to live as he throws a shallow grave on himself, and not going to be enough, though. Tomato finishes him off. And that ended up being 2-0 in favor of Team Freedom, so almost a little surprising that it worked out so well.
Yeah, I think just didn't read the situation with the Doom being there as well, because he smoked past the ward and then he tried to cancel the TP, and Resolution CSing under tower saying, no, don't go, I don't want to fight, I just want to CS, and Moon unfortunately gets caught out, and then they also die bottom, so a really nice sequence of events for Freedom. This is kind of what they need to get the ball rolling. They can
Exactly
get to the point where Darkseid has a mech and the heroes are all in fighting shape. They have a window where DC aren't exactly the strongest, and they can really punish that. But you see how aggressive this playing, because you don't have too much fear at the moment. It's only going to get worse if a mecha comes out.
They're going to try to go for the kill on him up here, Eagle. He's going to manage to live, though. Look at that, just walks it off. How about the ice armor assisting to keep him alive right there? That's +8 armor that he's throwing on himself. And no doubt the big difference right there of staying alive. So yeah, that was a big for Doom to actually stay alive, and for the side of Team Freedom, middle lane, he's going to be fine as he quickly ports down with his Remnant. He will manage to survive. But yeah, the active play Team Freedom early eyes are getting at. It seems like it's actually pretty beneficial for them, and now pretty well. Middle lane though, Tomato puts the EMP down, as we definitely wanted to sit on top and commit for that kill, but that was the whole purpose of making him use the Remnant to get the hell on out of there. So, and a good job in favor of Team Freedom. This Quas Wex build, by the way, on Invoker, not getting the XOR yet. I mean, does that make sense to you as far as the choice there?
Yeah, it's just mostly for the early game of the laning station pressure thing. Their entire draft revolves around, because Exhaust's a lot slower of a gameplay style, and it's also a lot weaker to things like Nyx and Ember, because Tornado, Ember just has the ability to kill you whenever you're one-on-one, pretty much. Once you get the X, whereas this way, he's doing really well in the lane, he's 400-500 gold up, and he's going to have a much bigger impact at the 10 to 15 minute mark than your boys would going Exort, and it fits into the team better. The only thing they're really lacking right now is like a good start on the Ursa. He's a few thousand, he's like 1,000 behind me, and he hasn't really gotten any impact so far. But that can change with one bite.
Yeah, and speaking of that right there, obviously a nice pick set up onto Dazzle, and just Spirit Breaker charging in, Darkseer of course assisting, and ends up securing a fairly easy kill in the end. So top lane, BSJ, speaking of him, he's doing what he can to defend, and we'll see if maybe they try to make a fight happen from this. Looks like he is trying to build into an early Helm of the Dominator, actually. On the Ursa, there comes the charge. EMP Tornado, it's the first initiate. Moomy, and all of a sudden all that mana's gone. Spike here, it's going to be wearing off. That's a dead Nyx once again. So the Nyx so far early on, it's his third death here. Poor Moomiander at 0-3-1 score, so it hasn't necessarily had the sexiest of a stat line. But at least Lone Druid once again will survive, and he just makes his way to the bottom lane. Now push it out. So is this Nyx pick proving to maybe not necessarily be the best one, or do you still feel Nyx is actually going to have impact this game?
He's only going to have more impact as the game goes on. He's not the best game hero. Dying top, it was like a 4-man rotation, 3 TPs or something, and then Rezo TPs bottom, forces some damage. Just can keep away at the moment, because they know they're not in the best fight, and if Freedom do mess up stations, maybe punish them. Right now they just keep away, continue getting farm. Resolution's farming really looking up a bit. Then once he gets his Veil, it'll be a little easier for him to get kills, and they might start looking to more point. But right now their lineup isn't strong in comparison, so they want to dodge as much as they can.
Well, that Villa Discord, again, is coming for we right here, so have the double Null Talisman, the Helm of the Iron Will ready, so it just needs that pattern, and like a couple creeps away from picking that up. Lone Druid, meanwhile, is level 10, so of course the talent tree is now starting to kick in here, and the biggest reason as to why we're seeing Lone Druid all of a sudden quite a bit, the 200 attack range bonus, as he will now be granted, but bottom lane, they are trying to set up a gank on him. You see Doom, by the way, has the boulders ready to go as far as hurling them at them, but not going to get the chance. They'll take it on Dazzle if he gets close enough. Not going to happen, though, at least for the time being. The boulder does come out. BSJ wants to chase. The charge even used. They're committed to this pretty deep. Port's coming in. Is this going to be worth it? Meanwhile, Tomato gets picked up in the middle lane, by the way. And now we see the defense coming out from DC. The Doom active on Nyx, though, preventing him from being useful. And he's muted this whole time. Ursa getting in some auto attacks. Nice Shallow Grave coming out, though. And Moomiander might as well put in some auto attacks while he's just simply trying to live. He's going to be healed up. He will survive for the time being. And now the Doom wearing off. He can now make some plays. Down goes Doom, by the way. Spearpricker already picked up. And BSJ trapped in here. He also is going to fall. The decision for Team Freedom to dive past the secondary tower was probably not the greatest there for them. So that was a little bit of an oopsie, it feels like. Yeah,
they kind of like messed up a huge window, I think, because now this Darkseid mech is less useful. You with those 3 heroes diving bottom, they also lost the Invoker mid to a Pudge Hook, and now Misery has a Midas, so he's gonna scale into the game nicer. He's gonna get his levels up and probably be a bit tankier than you'd expect. You don't normally see Midas on Pudge, but Misery is a huge Midas support advocate, and I think it's good in this meta because levels matter so much.
Yeah.
And Sax is buying all the time, so he gets to do whatever he wants, you know. Feels good.
Feels good, man. Top tower going down right there in favor of Freedom. That was a nice push again. Nyx, so he's going to be found. They had some kind of vision nearby. Yeah, the sentry, it looks like up there. He just ran in range, but actually he'll just keep walking away, and the Vendetta's still even active. So Moomiander still going to get some nice vision for the team. Able to try to make a play perhaps now in the middle lane as do see Doom running in. He does not have his ultimate just yet. He's going to apply some pressure to Wee, but I feel like Eagle's the one that needs to be a little bit careful with what could potentially happen right here. Moomiander. So just walk on by. Charge on Resolution, by the way, but he's going to TP. Well, no, not in time, actually. Gets barely hit. Oh, the Spirit Blade takes the hook. Oh, this is working out horribly for DC now. Resolution's going to go down, but DC can still fight this. They do not have a buyback of Lodra, and Misery going to be vacuumed in. Can they still fight this? Maybe not, actually. It's almost like they want to. The big Ember's on top with the bell, but not enough damage, and now we have to fall back. Saxa running through the wall. Out comes the tornado. Will hit both. Are they going to dive on top of that? It doesn't seem like it, actually, and Freedom is, you know what? They're happy with what they got, not going to commit further, but yeah, that was so close. Saving Lone Druid twice with the TP into the hook, but not enough. And now they're going to find Moomiander. He was scouting out, figured that he was going to be fine because of the Vendetta. Sometimes, man, you just got to expect they have the detection, and they did right there.
Yeah, that was exactly what they needed to get back on track. They fight with their Darkseid mech, and they get really crucial pickoffs, and Ember's got his Remnant available now, but if they slow him, he might just get to shrub it out. And
nah, he's
this
good there.
Should secure them, I think. They have Doom available, but no wall. Should be quick enough. And that's kind of what Freedom is, some kind of window where they can fight around their mech, get Eartha and Aegis, and then they can start pushing towers and applying pressure where DC aren't the strongest, because they have a Nyx as their shading hero, Pudge, which is more luck in a lot of these situations if he gets a hook. And even if you do get the hook, do you want to fight them right now? I don't think you do, so they just need to continue this keep away. Yeah.
Probably not as far as, getting that hook and exactly do they really want to fight. You know, maybe if they're diving your secondary tower like earlier, then yeah, it's a better decision. But for the time being, probably want to play a little more safe, and Freedom instead is going to make their way to the top lane now and push out the creep wave. But BSJ on that Ursa does have the Aegis, went that Helm of the Dominator first, as we mentioned. obviously a very popular item in general, so I'm not going to say that it's not crazy to see it by any means. I know BSJ as a player too apparently is known for picking up Helmet of Dominator quite a bit in general, but he obviously doesn't have a thing like a Blink Dagger. Are they going to fight Moomian again, by the way? He's going to be Justin Vacuum in. That's a kill. Oh boy, this is just not going well for Nyx, as he is 0-5-2 now. But yeah, he doesn't have a blink for that kind of following up initiation to kind of be the gap closer here just yet, but I got to assume that's probably going to be next in line. It just seems so necessary on Ursa. Do you think the blink's going to be next on Ursa?
I'd assume so, yes. But I really like the helm. The item is completely broken to be 1800 gold picker, and it's much better at fighting as well, which is going back to their entire draft. And they have forms of the like Breaker to a Shade, and then they've got Surge for the Ursa if needed, so it's not like he needed the Blink first this game. So the Helm kind of bridged the gap, especially as he wasn't the most farmed hero. If you blink in 5,000 net worth, you might just die, or you might not get the kill and then you're without him, really helps you farm. Whereas Helm, you always have impact, as long as you can find the creep, and it helps you farm, lane sustain, etc.
Yeah.
If he manages to get 400 gold in like the next minute, they can use the Sages pretty effectively with a blink and try and be really aggressive.
I'll say
and then it's up to DC for trades.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'll say this much about DC. I mean, definitely not about DC. About Freedom, excuse me. I know this game still has plenty left and everything, but I gotta give them a lot of credit so far because, like I was talking about earlier, you know, this is simply a just glorified scrim in a lot of ways for Freedom at least. They're just simply trying to play spoilers against DC, where DC is still trying to claim that #1 spot and thus go to the LAN event. But again, if Freedom manages to take one of these games, it will 100% be Team NP moving on to the main event. So DC, you got to almost think about maybe that's playing a factor here, that they got a bit of pressure on them. I know they've dealt with pressure before many of times, but how this is really a big series for them, and they're down here early on in game #1, definitely against Team Freedom. So it's interesting to see that.
Like, if Freedom drafted to be strong at this time, but they didn't look strong right now, then it would be really bad for them. And like, they can do this 3-man smoke zone, and they can put a lot of pressure on them because DC aren't in a position to fight them.
Yeah. You see it right there with Pudge. Yeah, easy kill coming out. So that is a fair point. They did draft a very early game lineup that they just want to kind of control the momentum from the beginning. So it's almost like expected that Team Freedom is ahead right now, to be fair. But yeah, they got to be feeling good with this early momentum, and they're going to be taking out a tower kill now on top of that. So hey, you know, just because their strategy suggests that they should be doing this doesn't mean it still doesn't feel good that they are doing it. So
oh no, don't get me you're wrong. It's really good that they were always their draft would function at all, but I'm just pointing out that this is kind of how you'd expect the game to flow, and DC are actually going to be the ones who are ratting a bit more and trying to delay the game for their items to come on. But you know, Freedom have done an amazing job of like getting pick-offs.
Now we got to call this fight right here because they're diving big to the wall. Comes on. Not really the best, though. Not really cutting them off. It is going to somewhat zone them out. Tornado thrown in the air. Misery. Got to take that AMP. All of a sudden, out of mana. The Spear Bear barely running back. And it is going to manage to survive. Nobody died throughout all of that. That was actually pretty crazy considering how much of a commitment there was right there coming out from the Team Freedom. But they don't get any kills. Now they don't die themselves. So I guess there's the positive you could take from it, as they were diving quite a bit. But they're going to reset now and look to go back in. They didn't necessarily use anything too big other than the wall, of course, of Darkseer. Actually, Aegis is going to be reclaimed there as well. So that is now one less tool they have. And you got to wonder if now Team Freedom may think about falling back here, or if they're still going to go. It looks like they still want to at least push this bottom tower in. We'll see if this works for them.
Oh, they see the Lone Druid top, and they can tell he has a team. But they just want to power and back off, I think, unless they see a really good chance to fight.
Yeah, they see a good chance, but a nice hook by Misery in the background. Pulls in Ursa, gets the kill away from his team, and now here comes Lone Druid. So it's all a deception. It was all a lie. As Darkseer gets picked off as well, a 2-for-0, so they get the tower kill, but it comes at a cost. And that's 2 kills for nothing. The hook and a whiff right there on a Spirit Breaker as he charges out. And it looks like Juby will survive for the time being. Gonna even pick up that bounty rune and make his way out of here. Throws up the TP, so... Well, at least DC, though, they get a couple of kills out of it despite losing that tower. And again, Lone Druid, he's level 15 now as well. So this is where Lone Druid really starts to come online. And kind of as you're talking about, this is where DC maybe will start to look a little better here.
Yeah, just once they get their first few sets of
Crude of invisibility.
core items, like Blink are gonna help a lot. Hurricane Pike on the Lone Druid so you can create some distance between the 4 melee heroes. And I think BKBs are also going to be a thing at some point, just because
Radiant's middle tower
and that's problematic. Yes, there are a lot of things that go through them, but Lone Druid's not the best B hero. He can probably play without one, but maybe you see we get one just so he can play in the front line a bit more. Not get his shield dispelled by purge creeps and tornadoes, etc.
Radiant's middle tower.
We will see. The DC, like, getting a few kills on that tower was nice, but it still favors Freedom because they're getting map control. The more towers they knock down, the closer they get to kill the shrines, and Roche being up in 4 minutes, I want to establish more map control. And they're doing a good job of keeping their farm as well, like Imba's massive at this point.
I will say, too, you know, going back to Nyx as well, Moon Meander here again, it has not been a pretty game. Not to focus on that, though, necessarily, but he also is working on his Zags now. And, you know, once he gets his Zags, even though he's had a, you know, not the greatest start here in this game, the Zags definitely brings a lot more teamfight presence for him. He's going to be tested right here, so the caster's curse. I'm sorry, Moon Meander, despite Scareface. Actually, it might keep him alive. In comes the wall combo with the vacuum, of course. The Shallow Grave to save Ember Spirit for the time being, as the Doom is on him. I don't know if it will save him in the long run. They actually pick up Spirit Breaker in the background. We end up falling, though, the Doom just a little bit too powerful. BSJ sitting on top of Pudge, and they pick him off as well. So right now, a 2-for-1 exchange, possibly more. Dazzle, Inferno Blade auto attack, Shallow Grave TP. That's gonna work as he actually makes it back to base in time. So good getaway at the end there, at least, from Dazzle. But again, the 2-for-1, they do pick off the Ember Spirit. That Doom ultimate, definitely to thank for that. And here comes a secondary tower push now. So again, credit to Team Freedom. They really are keeping the early drive going here as far as that momentum, and they're gonna get another tower kill here, seems like.
Yeah, and that was probably one of the worst
Dire's middle tower.
places they could have taken off, and how favorably it went for them, just because they got Doom on Wii, and like, even though Moon's a really good job of like breaking smokes, making space this game, yes, you could call it feeding, but like someone has to make plays on his team.
Yeah. Now speaking of making play, oh no, that's not the play they needed. Oh, that's unfortunate. The misery hook actually ends up hooking back as he was going in, just like earlier when he got the Spirit Bear instead of Lone Druid. It's just so fine in terms of the frames that you got there. You can't really blame him, but it just looked unfortunate there for DC, missing out on perhaps a pursuing chance. Now bottom lane, they are going to catch Spirit Breaker, and that time the hook is right on point and secures the kill in the end. But they can manage to get anything off of this. Oh, top lane actually, Moon Meander again being caught. EMP that will connect, and now BSJ is chasing the Shockwave and easy kill in the end, or Shock, excuse me. Make it a 1-for-1 there.
Everyone knows what you mean. It's fine.
Yeah, of course.
And Roche being up at the most time where DC are on the other side of the map and they kill the hero that was on the Roshan side, and Ursa's right there with alacrity to claim it. And now they're in a position where map is like open to whatever they want. Do they want to push? Do they want to smoke and try and find some pickoffs first? They aren't the best pushing team, but if they just let SJ hit the toss with alacrity, then it's up to DC to find a way to break that. And I don't think hooking him in is the answer, unfortunately. It's a follow-up. It's just extremely.
Yeah. No, the hook in on him, it doesn't seem like, it's the prime choice here. So we'll see what DC is able to do and handle this whole situation, because it's going to have to figure out a way. But the top lane now, again with the Aegis onto Ursa, they're going to push in this last secondary tower. That means the shrines are obviously going to be exposed, and we'll see if they make the rotations to those shrines to complete that. Lone Druid, though, pushing out the bottom. He's going to fall back. He has a Hurricane Pike as well as a Mjolnir, so again, Resolution's farm continues to be very good. In fact, he's contesting with top farm against the Invoker right here. Moomiander, he's still not afraid to go pretty deep despite him dying all these times. Oh, 6 and 5 here, but he's looking for that opening.
It's his job
for the team. Yeah.
And that's kind of what DC wanted to do, where they push one lane and have 2 or 3 heroes from Freedom in the air, and they have 5 and they take that fight with the numbers advantage. But Freedom did onto the Lone Druid, and they don't see the chance. But they do find Invoker, so... or not, because they have attack.
Found him for a couple of seconds. Not much longer after that, though, so... yeah, Ghost Walk, and he is going to be fine, as you said, lack of detection, and that's a bit of a misplay from DC. You got to figure it's a guarantee they're going to try to make sure they have detection from here on out, as I'm looking across the board, and no one currently has Dust or Sentries even on their side, so wanting to make sure you have that for that Invoker especially. For that reason, yeah, that would have been a huge kill to have. Coming up short, though.
It hasn't been like the important for them to have this game though, because they haven't been able to like find the Invoker. They've always been playing rat, playing defense, so I can kind of see why they Dust, but at the same time it's like it's very easy for us to criticize, you know, like you should always have Dust against Invoker.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's, you know, Misery wants a 4-staff, like if he doesn't have Dust there, like he might not have the 4-staff for this push. If they don't get that kill, it's a lot of ways you can look at it. But you know, Moon has Dust now, so that is his job. Basically being a support at this stage.
Well, top lane, Freedom, it looks like they're going to make their way up here and instead continue to push it out, as obviously DC is now in the mindset of we gotta hug our base. They gotta play pretty defensive right here. And hope that they can outlast this Aegis and not get sieged on just yet, and get more farm for the Lone Druid, more farm for the Ember Spirit. Another big thing too, the Linkins is in the works for We Now. He's got kind of his core taken care of, the Veil, the Blink, and that bot's picked up on him. Tomato bottom lane, Moomiander. Okay, is he gonna get support in time? Is it? Oh, he needs to stop this. Yeah, he is gonna stop it. Okay, I thought almost a little bit scary, but well, let's support Kid here now. He pops the Ghost Walk, and oh, he was out of range of the Dust. He actually escapes there, so...
space has created.
Yeah, most certainly. All 5 down here. Don't get it.
They just don't have the best gap closers when they're like 3 or 4 screens away, and the Knicks can't buy the time. And this is just because Freedom's creating the tempo, like they're the side DC can move, and almost every time they've had an opportunity like that where the Invoker's gone in, he's played his way out of it. But they're going to be feeling like really good right now, despite the fact that their Aegis might not amount to a high ground push. Definitely still be used to take the shrine if they feel they want to do that. But they have no vision in there. Like their vision is all here, so they probably want to play around that still. Because while they're super strong in fights, it's risky to not fight under vision.
Yeah, yeah, you never want to be doing that.
You know, like the longer the game is, the longer it favors DC, I think. Just because Lone Druid's a hero, and Ember and Nyx just get better as the game goes on, I think. Even with this Magic Ember build, I'm still pretty sure he's an amazing late game hero.
Absolutely. No, I think it's... yeah, I think it's hard to argue that Team Freedom... I mean, Invoker obviously, can be a great late game presence, but overall, it does feel like DC, yeah, that they, with the Lone Druid, with the Ember Spirit, this is a team that's kind of been the theme. It goes back to the theme of this game, as talk about from the beginning. Team Freedom wanting to win this early game, which they definitely have, and now it's about, can they really break through? Are they able to actually start sieging the base with this early start, or will DC start kind of climbing back in? And so far, it seems like it's kind of, give and take either way. Moomiander, Spike Carapace, he's simply running once again. The hook gonna whip right there, trying to maybe catch him to survive, and he is going to be left alone in the end. and be killed. So another case of really just trying to get that information. Ends up getting picked off, but like you're talking about, I mean, DC, hey, if they lose Nyx at this point and then the information at least keeps everyone else alive, so not necessarily the worst thing in the world ever, but it will once again
that was
fall
a fresh
back.
gem.
Oh, was it?
So he didn't know about that. Yeah, they gave the gem. I'm not sure who picked it up. It was the Doom. So they gave that to Invoker, which is the most sensible hero to have it on, because he's like most often on his own or looking to make plays away from his team, and also D-Ward with the Sunstrike vision and stuff on high ground, etc.
Yeah.
Like the second die there, you saw the call from Misery was like, get stuff out of this area. You know, like try and D-Ward everything. They have a gem of their own, and while they give up control of their shrine, they're opening up like their woods to be able to make plays here later in the game. So like they definitely have a game plan of how they want to move around the map. It's just, can they do it without giving out the pickoffs? Like if Moon dies, I don't think it's that big deal. It's we and Rezo that matter at this point of the game, and Misery to an extent, because he's a huge deterrent for the freedom to push high ground without just.
Very true, yeah, those cores, and then Misery thrown in there, because as you stated, so as long as we're not losing those heroes are getting picked up individually, you know, overall feeling pretty good. Now they're gonna make a smoke play right here. They want to catch Tomato. They know he's in their jungle area, but they even scan it out right there, but he's just a little bit too quick. Tomato, fantastic player, especially on this Invoker, and he's continuing to show why once again. He has the Octarine core now, in the works, that is. Still a little bit to go before he gets that, but that's in the works. And of course, going to prove to be an effective pickup once he gets it, you would figure. He's level 22 as well, so of course at level 25. Is this a game, again, there was a game recently where we did see that minus 15-second tornado picked up. I know overall AoE deafening blast is usually the choice. Do you think it's going to be that this time here?
I've never seen a game where they've picked Tornado, but I suppose there are niche cases for it. Yeah, Deafening Blast is just like go-to. The hero kind of revolves around it at a point with your combos.
Yeah. Oh, pulling right here on the socks. The shallow grave going to save him a little bit longer. Will it save him longer? Absolutely not. Tomato with the kill. Harvard hook in the background. It catches Ursa. He is going to survive though, as his ulti is popped, and now they get the kill onto that's Nyx actually in the front lines. Back with the Meteor. Darkseer though going to be picked off. The bear in the front lines causing some issue, it seems like. So the hook hits, by the way, on Tomato. That's the target they want. Do they have the follow-up damage? Lunger putting in the auto attacks. The fear effect kicking off. Not going to be enough follow-up damage. So the answer, Resolution. He gets stove on by BSJ, and BSJ just explodes right there as Ember Spirit goes back in with a Remnant. Doom now trying to make his way out, but Ursa may be getting too confident, thinking about going back in, making a play. Spear Breaker charges out at the last second against Misery meanwhile, and he will manage to survive. We want some more kill, damn it, and he's going to go for it onto Doom at the very least. It's going to be pursed right there. Even Invoker nearby. Nice job with the Searing Chains. Game of cat and mouse. That hook going to go right in between the uprights right there as they spread out, and Tomato, nice ghost walk, and he will make his way out. So DC overall, though, they definitely hold there at their base. Ursa's dead for another 30 seconds, so big fight in favor of DC there, it feels like. 2-for-2 exchange.
Yep, completely agree that that's favoring. Because, like, if they lose that fight, they either have to throw buybacks or freedom back and take Roche. Whereas now DC have a level of control on the map, they can start trying to make plays.
Speaking of making plays, DC now trying to run, but they have that supporting cast coming in. Soxa takes the Sunstrike, body will live right through it. Shallow Grave gonna be a fly, keep them last longer, and they pick off Darkseer in the longer. Tomato that lands a tornado, and he will kill Dazzle in the back. And Jimmy though, he goes in with another strike on away, the perfect target. The dust gonna be used, Jube. Not going to be enough for the kill, though. He goes down. The kite is real. Resolution with those auto attacks. The Iron Scotty's definitely doing work. Jim's going to be picked up. And all of a sudden, Ursa now realizing he has to run, but that Iron Scotty's slow. It's taking effect right now. Resolution just chase. Mantis Star going to be popped. Going to get maybe an entangle. Is it even necessary? No, it's not. Double kill for Resolution. And another big fight for Digital Chaos. Tomato is a sole survivor. He's just going to be rooted here. And he will be fine. He's going to harass a little bit before actually ultimately falling back. But they're doing Roshan in the meantime, so looking to secure that kill against Tomato and push back now. So DC looking very good here.
That was absolutely huge. Like, those 2 minutes have just completely turned all the tempo of the game, and the network might not look like too bad considering, but they've lost like much control of how these fights go now, because Resolution's just able to sit there as a turret. They've got Ags on Moon now, which I would say one of the best Ags in the game. Like, it gives them the ability to control the fight entirely. bo2's the only one who really has like away from the Nyx because of his range and spells. Yeah. Everyone else is like in the face of DC, so Nyx is gonna get 2 free throw Carolans, Pales, and then Resolution's just gonna be able to truck them down while he's doing whatever he's. And the way Freedom win fights now, I think, is by picking people off in Zings 5, which was how they've been playing recently.
Gold and sweet.
Now they also have a cheat Aegis to play against, which just makes the game even harder for them. And you know, as much as they have been winning, like, the Ursa hasn't scaled at all. Yeah. All the farms to the Darkseid because he's been using the Waves of Iron Shell, and Invoker because he's been away from the team. BSJ's played like extremely selflessly. That's why he has like to no farm at this point, and he's starting to really fall off.
Hey, you see the
DCA just get
blade.
more and more comfortable.
It definitely feels that way, and it's just really how the game's going here. I mean, Darkseer, I didn't realize how much farm Darkseer actually did have. I mean, he has a Scythe now, so overall, pretty good game for IX Mike right here, as he tends to have, but even with that, definitely going to be a tough task. But a Scythe is a great item to definitely have as far as jumping in, getting these ganks that talking about are most certainly necessary. But DC, if they're smart, and most certainly are, they're going to do a lot of sticking together now, and that's what you're getting at, where that's where Team Freedom is starting to fall off here quite a bit. Lone Druid is putting damage into the tower, easily takes out the bottom secondary. They still have the middle and the top to take care of, but they're slowly grinding away. They are going to port back to the top lane and defend the base tower, of course, before Freedom gets too much damage onto it. Although they get it to about half-life here, so we're all not too bad as far as the pressure put out by Freedom. But Invoker goes back to farming, Octarine Core finished, and now a BKB even going to be in the works for him. So I know you're hinting at earlier maybe about the BKB option of somebody like an Ember Spirit, but he ends up getting the Link-ins, and with the way the game's going now, it feels like he's pretty comfortable here. He is going to be building into a Radiance, by the way, which, you know, as far as the late game Ember Spirit goes, it feels like this is something that we maybe see every now and then in the late game. So you like the
normally
Radiance
see
choice?
like Raze or Mjolnir. Radiance is it means he doesn't admit to right clicking as much and still be able to get some damage out, still be able to do some lane pushing. So I will defer to whatever he thinks is good, because he's much more experienced on this hero than I am. I've said Maelstrom, but Radiance makes a lot of sense as well. Either or is fine, I think. Now they're in control of the game. They just need to know, basically. And it's to basically the Doom and Invoker to make plays.
Speaking of making plays here, I mean, they try right there. The Scythe comes down, but not the biggest follow-up, although Tomato is now nearby. And gonna assist with the Tornado, helping them, trying to get away further, but Invoker, he's locked in place, has the Ghost Walk up. Another Vision currently moving in pursuit, though. Want to run him down, but again, without the Vision, they're not going to be able to really catch him. That's a pretty obvious statement there, so he will make his way out of there. But it's going to be on cooldown now for a little bit, of course. Want to make sure they have that detection here.
Still good for Freedom, though. Like, they're buying time.
Yeah.
Like, as much as DC might be favored in the late game, much harder to control of your advantage as the game gets to the ultra late point, because the map is very open. Any team that has like the ability to make plays can still win. That's why Dota's such a tense game at times, because you can always mess up. Like one bad call from them, one good call from Freedom. Invoker's one of the better late game heroes. Can enough work in this game to like make up for his underfarmed Ursa and let him thrive, but this goes as you'd expect.
Doom is applied to Ember Spirit in the background, by the way, but zero follow-up on him, really. Now, Misery's going to get cut in the front, and Dismember comes out, though, and all of a sudden, BSJ, the one that's on the run. There's the AoE Deafening Blast. Used by Invoker. Ember Spirit though, the Doom is wearing up. He's going back in with the Revenant. A lot of damage as expected, and Spirit Breaker most likely going to tick down. Yes, he does. No Radiance just yet, but still doing plenty of AoE, of course. BSJ continuing to run away. He's going to pop the Shrine in the base, and now we may be overstepping his boundaries right here. Whoa, that was a mistake by Ember Spirit, going a little too deep as the Aegis, by the way, being reclaimed. And that means DC interested in falling back. Misery kiting away this whole time, it seems like. And he will stay alive against the Forge Spirit. Back here, though, Moomianer still in the front lines. He's going to be caught, though. Scythe comes out, BSJ jumping back in. The weave, not going to be enough. Shallow Grave, though, that will save for the time being. Again, they do not have weave. They don't have Misery now. He did get picked up in the background as well. It seems like Lone Druid is also way far away. So DC, got to be careful, man. I mean, Wee's decision to go into the base at the Shrine like that, that's what kind of snowballed that effect right there.
I think his decision to go was fine. He just didn't pop cheese. You know, like, he was making space for them. If that play works, he looks really good, etc., but he just didn't press the cheese. Small mechanical error. Then DC heroes down, Freedom get the chance to play their game again.
Yeah. That's a good point.
This is like
yeah,
the best window.
It absolutely is. I mean, this is, hell, Team Freedom, they cannot ask for a much better opportunity in a game like this against a team like DC, and they're going to take out middle base, middle tower, that is. The Rax, though, Resolution just doing way too much damage, is going to eventually threaten them and fall back as the resurrections are happening here. So, no buybacks being... Okay, Pudge did buyback,
Misery.
excuse me, but yeah, other than that, no buybacks being used in it. Not the biggest deal to have that on cooldown here for them. Obviously, the cores are more the bigger deal ones there, so... Ember does have his Radiance now after that fight too, so there is a positive.
Yeah, and he still has cheese, so they in effect have multiple lives. And they're still able to kind of systematically dissect the map. They still have the Shrine to take down top if they want to. There's no tier 2s up, so that's probably their negative. But they do lack a gem now, so the vision from Freedom's going to stay up. I think that's their best game plan at the moment, is play around their vision. Right now, it's not the worst vision, but they do have sentries on T, so they're going to deward this. They know it's They're
going to push out as a team right here together, all five of them, not smoked up or anything, just simply sticking together. Of course, that's what you'd really expect at a point like this. The Roshan not up just yet, but he definitely has to be soon. You figure another Roshan kill, of course, going to be pretty important in terms of it being done right here. Now, he makes his way back with the Remnant. Still has that cheese, as we mentioned. And yeah, only a matter of time before Roshan's up. DC obviously very anxious to do it, but gonna have to wait till he's up in full, of course. Reaver picked up by Lone Druid, by the way. Yeah, I think he might be going for that Satanic. I was seeing him building into it earlier. Is that a Satanic make sense to you? They like that here?
might be a bit too defensive, but if ever they're in a position where the fight's going bad, they can then turn and they can make more plays that way, so it makes a lot of sense. He's also the sieging hero, so if he has like the ability to pick up the Aegis, maybe swap out his Lincolns or something, take a few nukes, go Satanic up, and then go back, get ability to like have a sustained push. Where like Dazzle heals on a 3k health hero really don't mean anything, you know, at this stage.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Axmac jumping in, Scythe on a Dazzle. This is the opening once again that Freedom may be hoping for. The quick pick on a Dazzle. He does have a buyback. DC spreading though. Moomianer, they're in pursuit of him. Nyx Assassin Candy making away. Ice Path goes down. They do not have the detection on Misery this time. Lands the hook, but the soul is real. And he pops a spiked Carapace. Is that ultimately enough? Axmac into the side in 6 seconds. They back him backwards. And they're going to pick him off as well. So yeah, they do decide to use the Doom as mentioned. Spirit going down actually. As the hook in the background of the Dark 2 though with this member, but no, he will live. So he gets 4 staffed away as the Tornado comes up too. And that's going to be the end of that exchange. But Nyx Assassin dead for another 50 seconds here. Team Freedom, however, not going to necessarily push just yet. Roshan? Yeah, they're
still
probably
too risky for them. Yeah, and unfortunately, when they get the kills, Roche isn't up, so DC are going to have time to get out on the map. map again and start counterplaying.
This
is just late game Dota.
Yeah, it sure is. 47 minutes in. This experience chart's kind of fun to look at too. It's you see upwards of 7,500 there, and then all of a sudden it's just way back in favor of Team Freedom. Net worth, pretty similar dip, of course, and then back in favor of Freedom yet again. But yeah, late game Dota indeed is here, and this Roshan is once again going to be so crucial for them. Ursa, level 2 diffusal blade, by the way, now finished. He also has a heart on him. Wow. That's big to see, obviously making him quite a bit tankier, a bit more damage, and level 25 talent also going to be happening here very shortly, so not too shabby. I mentioned BSJ earlier, maybe kind of scaling off, but I think he's actually maybe picking it up once again. Is that a dead Spirit player again? No. Gonna lie.
I mean, he's gone from like 14k net or 24k in the past, what, 5-10 minutes? So them finding the few fights that have been successful has given him a lot. And I think the heart's mostly just because like you can't blink on a target, kill them, and then snowball the fight. You need sustain, especially when Ember's going to hit me 5 and the chains are going to come out. You need a way to stay in the fight for longer.
Oh, middle lane again. Here we go. Misery opens with the dismember. We to follow. Bill comes out. Latifisti is Ursa locked down. He does have his Enrage active, but they're just going to kite the hell out of him, as you'd expect. Wow, Vacuum coming out with a wall, but Resolution the only one pulled in. Not the prettiest initiation right there from IX Mike. A pretty desperate move, but not going to happen. Mumianer, meanwhile, right here, comes out with the meatball, rolls around. BSJ going to be picked off. In the background, Misery dismember now onto the Spear Breaker. They kill him, and Doom also picked off. As we do see IX Mike on the Darks here, making it out of there at least, but a 3-0 in favor of Digital Chaos there.
They played that so well at the start. Like, none of them broke the smoke, getting all vision they needed. It might have taken a tiny bit to react, but again, you just see when they set up the fights, they're not running from the start. They're so much stronger. You know, Invoker does. There is a possibility for him to make some baller plays, but it's not as easy as to see him get 5 hero combos. If it happens, I'll be amazed.
Yeah.
You know, it's more of a DC fight. And they have so many ways of dealing with him as well.
Yeah, they're kiting him very, very effectively, and that's obviously to the game plan of DC, and they're accomplishing that pretty well. So, it is a very difficult task for Team Freedom. We said that earlier, and they managed to win a pretty big fight, start pushing it out. So it's doable, but it's quite the uphill battle. Not only because of the strategy, but again, you're facing a team in Digital Chaos. We're talking about one of the top teams, arguably in the world right now, even, especially when they're on their game. So, Ember Spirit, by the way, Octarine Core is actually just about finished on the. I mean, he has enough gold for it. Obviously, the buyback is of a concern, so also to make sure of that. But Octarine Core with the Radiance as well, especially, he's level 25, so even that 2 seconds longer on the steering chains. It's going to be that's where he also kind of hits that peak, as you'd expect, and that's where it just becomes absolutely absurd dealing with him. So, yeah, another thing.
Yeah, and we get to see it in action now. That'll make chain boy.
No chance.
That's going to make the Ursa's life a living hell. Because he can remove twice, but... okay, now he can remove it 3 times because he just bought his BKB. He's opting to forgo buyback. Which is probably a good decision based on, like, if he dies in a fight, you're already looking really bad. So it's better to have the BKB be at 10 seconds, and if you die, you at least trade, or maybe buy enough time for your Invoker to get a lot of stuff done in the fight. Like, Ursa's the one position hero anymore, it's definitely the Invoker.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one they need to shine.
Well, he's going to get a chance right here, because here comes the siege now from DC. The range from Resolution, sitting back there, Sniper 2.0. There's a good damage into the tower. The hook does land, by the way, on IX Mike. That's going to be a prime target. Can it come before the combo? Yes, they can. He has a buyback, though, using it immediately. So he still has a vacuum wall combo. A chance to use it, most certainly, to be had. He also has a scythe. There's the lock coming onto him. And BSJ just simply has to run away as much as he can. They get the hook on Invoker as well. Prime target again by Misery. But this time the follow-up not there, and he makes his way out with some force staff support. So they're going to reset now, but DC, I don't think they're going anywhere.
No, they're in control of the situation. If they want to back, they can. They want to like, look for a better angle, but I think they can just let this siege all day. Fine.
That he's going to make his way out before he gets caught by that EMP. You see the Spirit Bear getting a little bit low, but again, he hasn't. Oh, he actually doesn't have another spawn of it. Is that the biggest deal? It's good for sieging, and it is bringing a little bit of an RO, but yeah, not necessarily a huge deal. They managed to kill it.
Yeah, until you get to the point where it actually has active items on it, it's kind of just a scouting tool.
Oh, almost caught Invoker again, Tomato. Going up there, but manages yet again to get away, but you see the auto attacks. There we go, the tower falls. Yeah, the Ags on Nyx is no doubt just doing work as well. He's sitting back, the Octarine core. He's just spamming this Impale and Mana Burn from a distance. They're pinging him out. They know he's there, but it's like, what do you do about that? They can't really jump on top of him. Although BSJ is like, yes, I can, damn it. Pops the BKB. He's pissed off. The array is up.
He missed his combo.
There we go. It's going to be activated now. There's the wall combo from IX-Mike. Gets enough follow-up. Ember Spirit, he's getting low. Manages to extend the outskirts, though, and survive. Dazzle and Nyx, though, picked off in the midst of it. But the cores are still alive in favor of DC. However, they're running away. They are going to pick off Misery as well. Does have a buyback, but did for another 90 seconds right here. So they do hold, and they get a couple of kills out of it.
Yeah, I don't think DC expected them to just like run in with BKBs. He used his refresher combo on a Nyx that got force staffed away from where he was comboing, so that could have got even worse for DC if like he comboed on that. Was it 3-4 hero vac wall? It probably would have just been at least an Aegis kill and maybe follow up on resolution as well. So Freedom still have a lot of play in this game, so DC still have to execute, you know?
Yeah. Now they certainly do. This is not a well, it's not a point of where you can just snowball into their pace and win this game just by right clicking. It's definitely still going to take some skill, and they understand that, especially the way that last fight went. So it's 55 minutes in now, and again, guys, this is just game one of this series, and as we've constantly been referring to, if Team Freedom even takes one game, whether it's this one or the next, that knocks DC out of contention. It will be Team NP moving on to the main event. So Digital Chaos, no doubt they knew that going into this series. And once again, you got to figure that pressure maybe adding up a little bit as well. We're on the other side. Freedom's like, we're just having fun. We're playing to play spoilers. We're beating a good team, or attempting to beat a great team in DC, and put that on their resume even. So
I mean, they're just playing to like experience at this point as well. Like playing against a team like DC isn't something you get every day. I'm sure they don't get the chance to scrim them as much as they'd like. And
no, of course.
Though I don't think pressure is going to be a thing that DC cares about. They just play their normal late game Dota, and unless Invoke really big plays, I think they're still going to come out on top. It's just going to take longer.
Well, it's going to take longer. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. I wonder when the bear's going to come into play with like or blood fonts and stuff, if it even gets that late. Resolution's definitely got the farm. He just bought phased on the bear.
Yeah.
So he's starting to kit that out instead of his hero now. And I'm surprised he didn't go for like at least some kind of damage item on the core, like a butterfly or an MKB, but I guess he just wants to be super tanky and then let the Ember set up hooks, etc., and just play the longer fights.
Got a point, yeah. The Lone Druid really has gone overall, you mentioned that with the Satanic especially, very somewhat defensive, just more so bulking up rather than worrying about doing the most damage possible. So, and I wonder if maybe that's going to be something that, as this game, if it continues to go on here in the longer game, that maybe he will transition, but also building up the Spirit Bear, as you're getting at. In fact, he almost has an AC finished on the Spirit Bear. That's just absurd. This is where Lone Druid is just on another level compared to any other hero, right? He has access to 12 inventory slots when it comes to this late in the game. Really nobody else does.
More now.
Even
a backpack.
True.
He can swap the money out after he uses it, and like personally, I've had a lot of trouble maximizing my backpack as the game goes past 60-70 minutes, but I'm sure these guys are used to it and they can be efficient at it.
Well, DC's sneaking around, hoping to maybe catch somebody of Team Freedom, just trying to get a little bit of farm, but Freedom's playing it very safe, as you would expect. They're sitting in their base really, just simply saying, we're going to wait for you. We're going to wait for you to come to us, or maybe defend Roshan if you do that, but they got the Wild Wing Ripper in the Roshan pit, scouting out for that information when he's back up, and perhaps if DC is going to look to do it.
The helmet in the back pack giving the Wild Wing is so silly, I think. Like a free wall. 1800 gold for that is, and as the game goes on, BOT targets as well. Just such a good item.
It is. That's been the hot topic item, no doubt, in patch 7.00 here in this last month or so. It's definitely been the go-to item that really just became mainstream for many. So, DC, they're continuing to go bottom lane. Remember, they have the tower kill down here. They're actually going to kind of split push of sorts. Putting pressure on the top lane now as, oh, there's a pause from,
And they want the mid lane and top lane pushed in so that there's this little access for Freedom to go to the Roshan pit without DC knowing about it as possible. So when the creep wits are at Freedom's base, it's very, very easy for them to tell if they're going to contest Roshan or not. So, much important they put 2 lanes in to get control of that area. And then they'll have cheese on Nyx, 1 cheese on whoever, and an Aegis, which might again go to resolution. He could play bootless if he wanted to.
That's
Rabbit
true.
gives you more than enough move speed.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that, you know, the earlier with the Satanic sitting there in that backpack, it almost seems like, yeah, you could just throw that in instead of the power treads, and maybe that would be ultimately more effective, but he likes the power treads here, at least for the time being. So if maybe that becomes more of a reality in the future here.
Treads is just more efficient for moving around the map and farming and stuff, and then if they ever deceive, you'll swap the Satanic in, I imagine. So just doing what he believes is better at the moment, because there's no run around with the Satanic if you're not fighting. It gives you a minimal amount of damage as opposed to making up to get there faster with the treads.
Pause still happening here. Spear Breaker apparently. He's mentioned a direct quote coming out. Bug or some shit apparently. Alright, so hopefully you get whatever said issue was. Just a quick restart here if anything, and gonna be good to go. As we're zooming on. Yeah, speaking of making use of the backpack, obviously Invoker's been doing that as well with the refresher. Has that in there, so ready to be used. Blink gonna be that much more difficult in terms of trying to actually siege into their base if he's able to things off like the double AoE deafening blast and etc. So DC though, about an hour-long game, and yeah, the pauses and all the draft who've been in this game well over an hour and almost 20 minutes now, and it's game 1 of our 2-game series, so
Sometimes those are the best games, where they just pick clowny shit. Especially because it's NA teams, they're gonna know each other, so... Yeah, anytime Demon's playing, you're gonna get some clowny stuff, hopefully.
actually Onyx, Demon, he's been playing a lot of Coddle this.
I'm sure that hero's broken in this kind of game if you can get past the early game problems. It just gives you like so much control of the map. The
Yeah,
problem
it's,
is how you fit it into your team. You look at DC, do you swap it out for the Purge? You know, the Purge has been like their entire playmaking hero.
Mm-hmm.
And it's half the reason they're still in this game. Or do you swap it for the Dazzle that like solidified their lanes, etc.? And I have to agree with Marie, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Sitting
someone
in
says that.
A long game and speaks up here. Okay. Thanks, Mike, though. Trying to give some healthy advice, though. Yeah, move around. We all can
you
do that
you don't
here.
get this in European teams or like any other teams, I think.
Is that the joking around?
Yeah. It's just like ability to take a fairly serious game and then there's a pause and just start clowning around. And if nothing else, it entertains the viewers. Gives us something to talk about. Right now, this game could go for another 20-30 minutes very easily. Screw up a high ground push. And it's just going to be rinse and repeat. And who executes better in the given situation. Because there's not much left to scale into. Everyone's pretty much got their necessary items. At this point, it's just supports, which are obviously a very important part of the game, but their items generally less so. When it gets to this point, it's just execution.
Yeah, this is it is kind of fun as it looks like he is reconnecting right there in the go.
Woohoo!
Go ahead there. Pretty fun though. Both regions are very likely potentially could come down to the final day, so it is kind of cool. Maybe it's going to work out like that. But again, for that to happen, actually for the American region, DC needs to win 2-0 here in this series. So a reminder on that with NP, the team that's contesting with them for the top spot. So. Anyways, back to the game now. Yes, he is good to go. Got that bug figured out, whatever it was. And talking about the possible
I wonder if this
siege.
is going to game at all. So like normally when you have so that's like 5-10 minutes or whatever, people are 100% keyed in. I don't think it's going to matter because it's so late and people know like Radiant sites in their base, Dyer's pushing in all the lanes, etc. You know, sometimes you just lose the flow of the game with pause and it rips you up.
Boom. There's Roshan. Yeah, no, a long pause, but they're back now, and Roshan's up. So IX Mike though, Scythe, they're charging out. Now it's gonna be canceled though. The resolution of prime target if they can get on top of him, but that's a lot easier said than done. And Roshan is gonna be seen right there.
Radiant's bottom
Bond.
Both teams know.
Who's gonna go in now is the question. Oh, over
This
here,
is as good anyway,
pops.
I think.
Heard it go off. Yeah, actually, Resolution Force popping. He doesn't have his teammates necessarily right next to him. Meanwhile, Tomato is in the midst of his teammates over here. So Resolution is sitting back with the right clicks, but now Tomato on that Invoker will use a Ghost Walk, get away. The hook on a Spear Breaker brings him in. Ursa sitting on top of Resolution, not going to be enough damage though. And BSJ a little too committed. More BKBs being popped. Invoker puts the meatball down on the ground. There's a double AoE deafening blast pushback. Another meatball coming out, but the dismember on him. Locking him down. The hook is going to whip right there. Another Ghost Walk though, and he is going to survive in the long run, it looks like. There we go with the Fear Effect, and IX Mike going to be picked off. No buyback on Spear Breaker. There is one on Darkseer. He uses it pretty quickly. Doom is going to stay dead. No, he will buy back as well, but nobody dying for Digital Chaos. And now you got to figure they're going to reset to Roshan here.
Yeah, and if Wee's able to zone them out, they can push pretty easily. And there's even a June right there, so it's going to be twice as fast, which is very, very convenient for them.
Yeah.
But I think most of that fight just came down to the fact Freedom were in a very chaotic position. The Invoker swapped his Refresher in and he didn't have his spells ready, and then when he did use them, they were very suboptimal combo. So like, that's half their team fight right there. It looked like they're defending their high ground and they can get a wall and stuff, and isn't there that at all, and that's why DC go away with 0 casualties. And now they use the bear as a courier or something, and they're all good to go. She's ready. BKB even on Pudge, so
there we go. AC's picked up. You got Ember Spirit He's pushing out the middle lane meanwhile. And wait, who did they give the Aegis to?
Pudge. He also has the cheese.
Okay. Okay, it's in his back. Oh,
Good
okay.
hook.
I couldn't see it. Oh, he gets the hook initially on a Juby, on a Spear Breaker, and yeah, that will be a kill. No buyback on him once again. He can be popped by Pudge, but here we go into the base. Ember Spear gonna port back. It's a Remnant ready to go to come back in. Hook gonna miss right there. BSJ running in, pops the Manta pretty quickly. Gonna be entangled though shortly after. Pops some BKB. There's the wall back in combo. Definitely Glass from the background. They have a Hex also onto that. Who is it? That's Pudge actually trying to live. The Shallow Grave comes out. Meanwhile, Nick Assassin sitting in that burrow and spamming the Mana Burn and the Impel as you would expect. There we go. Pudge gets killed. But of course, it's gonna be coming right back up. BSJ will be killed himself. No buyback on him in Doom. That could all but do it in favor of DC right here. They find him finally maybe just broke through.
Yeah. The second they don't see buybacks, they're going to be well aware. And BSJ's isn't on cooldown, he just doesn't have money. And that's due to them sitting in base the entire time and him prioritizing a refresher over the buyback. The double BKB. Don't necessarily disagree with that decision, because if he does get chained, like, what can he do? He needs to be able to do things. The refresher allows him to do that, but DC were just like a better draft, and Freedom kind of lacked the ability to like close out the game. Got an amazing early game, but they just didn't have pushing heroes. So